I've always enjoyed the thrill of trying to solve a mystery. I mean, finding the solution to a problem after spending hours or even days taking cracks at it. There is nothing that feels as great as finally figuring it all out. But when is the solution not worth it anymore? And when does the toll that it took to find that solution no longer worth whatever the end result is?
What's up? It's your boy, Caleb, normal Caleb, finally. I haven't been in a video longer than 2 minutes since that Office song that I uploaded. I mean, where have I been? I've uploaded a few short videos. Well, I've been investigating a case, and I've sunk very deep into it, and my emotions have been all over the place. It actually started in the December of last year, and that's been going on in the background this entire time. I haven't brought it up in my videos. It's kind of been something I've wanted to keep under the radar because, I don't want Emerald Inc. getting a hold of that kind of information. This is a big case. But thankfully it's wrapped up. And I do have the almost completely unedited footage of me explaining the entire story, and I'm going to play that in its entirety so that way you can really soak up all that went on and get my genuine my genuine reaction to just telling it all for the first time. This is as close as a document. This is as close as a documentary that I've ever gotten. So have fun.
My memory is a bit foggy, and I don't remember the exact day of last year that it happened, but it was in December. It was in December when I saw him for the first and last time in person. I remember standing there and just looking at this man who wears all white clothes. Very strange, with black patches sewn into it. In no specific order. There was no pattern at all. It was just at random, and he wore it, and all I could see was his face. Everything else was covered. His hands, his hair, all of it. And it didn't look like it was more than 2 pieces of clothing. It could have been just one, for all I could tell. And his face wasn't any less suspicious. I mean, he was constantly looking over his shoulder, like he was looking out for somebody who was after him or something. And for all I know, he could have been doing that exact thing. Um, I've never spoken to him, and I'm glad that I haven't, because his image is already stuck in my head, and I would hate for his voice to be as well. And before I knew it, he was gone, and I didn't know that I would never come across him again, or see him again, or hear of him again, and that was it. He was gone. Just without a word. And thankfully, I remember his first name. It was Marcello. But there wouldn't be a story if that was where it ended. And it definitely was not where it ended. I couldn't get him off my mind. Something about the mystery, the intrigue of what was going on in his head, the chance that the chance to get to know what was going on was something I just couldn't stop thinking about. I mean, what was he looking out for? It's about time I showed up. Was he dressed that way? And I was so distracted by all of these details about him, like his clothing, his facial expression. I forgot a key part to how I would locate him. I did not pay attention to the digits that came after his name. I didn't. I only paid attention to Marcello. I paid attention to everything but one of the most important parts of who he was. And I did not know what to do. I couldn't just try to search him up because I didn't remember anything other than just Marcello. And so I went back to where I first saw him. I would occasionally just go and walk around for a little bit, stay there for 15 minutes to 30 minutes to an hour, hoping to finally see him again and just ask and find out who he was below just this weird cow-like suit and this suspicious aura around him. I needed to find out where he was, and I needed to find out who he was. And I couldn't. I was looking, and I couldn't figure out any of it. I just... Nothing. Nothing. Eventually, I just decided to try to forget about it. I clearly wasn't able to find him. He wasn't coming back, and I needed to accept that. And so I tried. I tried to just stop. And the issue is that the harder I tried and the more amount of time that passed, the ache only grew. day a little spark of hope ignited, and I found that on this one Minecraft skin website you could figure out if somebody had liked a certain skin that they had worn or favorited it, they could their name would be tied to it. So if I could find their skin, I could potentially find their full name. And this was just the breakthrough that I needed. I could find Marcello. I could start looking again. And so I, think about what I remember. He looked like he was wearing potentially one big outfit. So I'm thinking onesie. Maybe it was a onesie. Maybe it would be classified as one. I look through pages and pages of onesie as the keyword. I look through pages and pages of cow as the keyword. That's the only thing I can think of that matches the style of his clothing, and nothing. I look through pages and pages, dozens and dozens and dozens of skins, and Marcello was not there. For some reason, his skin was just unfindable. And so was he. I don't know what he is running from, or incredible job. And that is the lowest I have been in a long time. I was in such a dark place. I mean, that was my one last chance, and it went nowhere. It was a dead end. But I was not ready to give up hope. I couldn't. If I had found something like that, maybe there were other places that I hadn't looked yet, and so I checked the records of the place that I saw him to see if maybe there was a way I could find him there. Nothing. I checked the website of the server, and leaderboards are down. I can't find his username that way. I checked the forums. He hasn't made a single post. So I go to a website that will show you if somebody's account is spelled or just like if you type out their username correctly, you'll know. If it's not a real account, you'll know, and you can find out which account is somebody based on checking their skins and their previous usernames. If I could type in Marcello and then guess the numbers, I'd be golden. I could figure out which of the Marcellos was him. I could find it out. He had a completely just unique suit, onesie, whatever, and I could find it. So I look. I type in Marcello 1, Marcello 2, Marcello 3, Marcello 4, Marcello 5, Marcello 10, Marcello 50, Marcello 100, Marcello 500, Marcello 1,000, individual numbers counting from 1 to 1,000, and nothing. Hours and nothing to show for my work. Me and a fellow witness of the event even even checked Marcello spelt with two L's. We checked different variations. Maybe there was an underscore, maybe there was a zero before all of the digits. We checked and we tried and we found nothing. And we found nothing. Nothing. He was gone again, just barely out of my reach. And that was it. That was it. I mean, was I insane? Was he there? Did I even see anyone? How? He had to be there. He. Am I going insane? So, I, at that point, had no idea what to do. I had no idea. I mean, what was I gonna do? I couldn't just keep adding more and more numbers. I couldn't. That would be awful and a waste of time if I never came across anything. If one part about his name was wrong, I could just be wasting all my time. But his account was somewhere, and I could find it. I just had to figure out how. And as the door of hope is just so close, it's speeding shut, it cracks open just enough to see a little bit of light. And I realized that on the same website, different than the skin catalog, this website you can find on the same website as searching somebody's name. I found that the skins weren't searched by name; they were done by tags. And so, what feature was there? Well, it was a onesie. So I type in onesie and I look through skins. Dozens and dozens and dozens more. The same thing. No, no, no. This is the same thing as before. I'm doing it over again, and nothing comes up. I think, okay, what else? What have I not tried? And thinking about it, his face, the expression of a just suspicious man, and the name of the character is Steve. So I searched Steve. Looking through the pages, there were so many faces almost identical to his. All of them just checking, looking over their shoulders. Something was suspicious about all of their expressions, and yet none of them were his. And none of them led me anywhere. Dozens and dozens of pages later, page 10, 50, all the way to 70 and beyond, I've hit the last page, and my heart sinks because he's not there. If his skin was anywhere, if it was registered on that site, it would have been there, and it wasn't. It wasn't, and that's when I began to think, I'm not going to be able to do this. This is it. So, finally coming to the final stage of grief and beginning to accept what had happened, I reached out on Twitter to the owners of the website asking, is there a way to just type in part of somebody's name and then look at every single actual real account rather than having to type in each digit individually and just guessing? And then I signed off. And then the unthinkable happened. I get a response later that day, and they tell me to put an asterisk after the first part of whatever name I'm trying to find, and I try it, and lo and behold, dozens and dozens, every single username beginning with Marcello, the whole list. And I felt unstoppable. I've never felt so alive. I was ready. I knew it was only a matter of time, maybe minutes, maybe mere moments, seconds away from finding him. So I go at random, looking at the biggest numbers because I had already gone through 1 through 1,000, so I looked at everything beyond that, and I check at random. I don't find anything. I only go as far as the digits. I don't try any other thing because I didn't remember any. Nothing. I keep calm and think, okay, it's somewhere. Then me and my fellow witness, who also caught a glimpse of Marcello, we comb through every single combination of numbers that was there. Nothing. That's when I begin to question if any of it really happened. I mean, he had to be here. That's impossible. Where is he? Where is he? Was it someone disguised? Was it some undercover agent? Does Marcello exist? And my only other option was to check the names that also had maybe one more letter or one other character and then digits, because I knew for sure that there were digits, which narrowed it down. So I started checking at random, and then it happened. I click on a profile, Marcello B15, I believe, and there in his previous usernames, I mean, it was his skin. And it was an amazing journey there. And everything that came before, just fully worth it. And I never reached out, and he or she or whoever doesn't know that I went through that entire process. And so, Marcello, if you're watching, want to play Build Battle?